Hi there. Not only is it the end of another week, it's actually the end of a season. This is week 13 of season 3. That means we've been doing this for over 9 months, guys.
Yeah, it's 3 seasons of people listening to us who know nothing and shouldn't be taken seriously.
Have you ever done anything consistently for 9 months in your life?
I'm not going to answer that.
I thought you were going to talk about pregnancy.
No, he's never had to carry a baby.
But he was part of a pregnancy.
Yes. Did he actually do anything consistently?
As you guys have whiskey, I'll have some wine. After the wine, I'll join you.
Yes, please.
Be careful.
There's only one thing we take.
They will finish the bottle.
Oh, please.
Before you die.
Gentlemen, Doc. I need to drink.
But Doc, I've had drinks with you before. I don't think we need to worry about us running ahead of you. I think you more than make up when you catch up.
George, I trust you.
Yes, and some of you may recognize this gentleman who's with us today, Dr. Solomon Guramatunu, who's been generous enough to accommodate us in his home this afternoon as we record our season finale. It's a beautiful house.
Thank you, George. I mean, it's a pleasure for me to host you guys.
The view.
Yeah, it's breathtaking.
Is this what you wake up to every morning?
Yes. I have to tell you that what actually happened, the architect was a Bulgarian lady who was also an opera singer. And she chose this spot and she designed this house. As you can see, it's a semicircle, so it's hugging the hill. And when she designed this house, she said to me, Solomon, I'll design this house with nothing, absolutely nothing, but love. And she said to me,
for you, for the house, for the spot?
So she said, so because of its configuration, each room has a view.
Wow.
Then she said, I know your lifestyle, so I designed this house to suit your lifestyle. And she said, I'm going to design a house where men and women of goodwill, like you guys, will come together, not just to enjoy good food and good wine, but to enjoy the arts and also enjoy music. So I'm delighted today we have Diana to give us some music.
Yes. It was going to be a surprise, but the dog has let the cat out of the bag. We've got, but you don't know which Diana. We've got a lovely young lady who's going to join us towards the end of the show and share some bars with us. So you're having wine, but you'll join us later.
For sure.
What is he joining us for?
Yes, something quite interesting, actually. This is an American whiskey with rye and it's Mitch's. I'd want to, give the impression that I know quite a bunch about it, but the truth is, this selection is a function of me being a fan of the show Billions. And they always drank this, so I figured, let's get a bottle. Not the stuff that the stars on Billions drank, because that costs several thousands of dollars. But
and you can't afford it?
No.
I don't live in a lovely place like this.
In short, Rufaro wants to say that you guys want to be billionaires.
Yes, well,
aspirationally.
Yes.
It depends on which currency, but yes, we're working.
So I've got a very good friend of mine who lives in the real world in the UK, and he has been very kind and facilitated the delivery of interesting bottles of whiskey from that part of the world. And so we have a bottle of this Mitch's Sour Mash, and it's engraved with ZFN Friday drinks and our names.
Not all our names.
No, well, Kinesh is not interested.
It says George and Rufaro. What are you having?
Well, we're outside the lovely garden, and I'm going to have a Coke Zero.
See? Boring. Why would we put your name on such an illustrious bottle?
Yeah.
Shona about Luscious. And would I want to be on a whiskey bottle? I'm quite happy being on a Coca-Cola bottle.
You have a different mindset from the producer who I can see signaling FOMO. Like, why isn't his name on the bottle? No.
Well,
Is this for health reasons or religious reasons? But you don't drink alcohol.
Yeah, a bit of both.
Okay.
So a bit of both. But
Okay, explain to us the religious aspect, because I remember distinctly that Jesus converted water into wine.
yeah, I think from a biblical perspective or from a scriptural perspective, there's nothing wrong with drinking, but there's something wrong with being a drunkard. And some of us have got very addictive.
Are you throwing shade?
No, but some of us have got very addictive personalities. So, if we start drinking alcohol, we don't know when to stop. So I think that to keep my mind and to keep my my spiritual self as pure as possible, I just keep away from things that I'm likely to be very addicted to. And then debauchery and all sorts that is.
When did you pick that? Anyway,
Yeah.
before you get yourself into any more trouble,
Yeah.
maybe we should get you to actually kick off some serious business. Inflation. Zimstat says we're up to 7%. Mutuli says we're going to go down to
6.6%, I think. That's the number.
6.67 tomato. Mutuli reckons we're going to be down to 25% or something by the end of the year. What do we make of the latest Zimstat numbers?
Well, I think Zimstat's numbers, I would say they're playing catch up. I think everybody's lived reality, and what we've seen with the basket, the consumer basket, is that inflation is way higher than 66%. But I think what is happening, the numbers that we're getting, it just seems that playing catch up.
So you think it's even higher?
Well, it is higher, not that I think. I think everybody recognizes
so
that.
He's on a frolic of his own.
Oh, absolutely. I think everybody has been clear about that for a very long time.
So local inflation is going up. You've seen the price of fuel lately? $1.44
$1.44, right?
for petrol and diesel. Global inflation is going up.
Yes, I think the US is what 6 point something, going close to 7%.
And for clarity, this is per annum in the US versus similar figure per month here. So I think both people agree that inflation is ticking up and it's going to remain high for the foreseeable future. A lot of asset managers.
The foreseeable future, especially globally, but I think in Zim, depending on how the state behaves and to what extent they print, I think that might be true. But globally, I tend to differ with the school of thought that we're going to witness persistent high inflation.
Well, a lot of asset managers disagree with you.
Yes, I think there's a big debate, and I could be wrong. But I think that
What could be?
well, you're clearly
Doc, this is why he doesn't do
but he's clearly on the other side of this equation.
I was just thinking locally, because remember we have elections next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think spending. So I'll be surprised if inflation goes down. I think it's likely to actually go up because of the spending that's going to happen now.
And I think there's probably consensus on that.
Yeah, and I think, look, we've got new data coming in all the time that informs the discussion. So I think the latest thing is that our government has committed $460 million to resuscitate Cisco Steel, and I think that it's common knowledge that we're not sitting on significant hard currency reserves. We don't have that money. So if we've made this commitment and we're going to put this money into Cisco Steel, chances are we're going to print this money and it's inflation. So sadly, I think the outlook from a Zimbabwean perspective is not encouraging. I would take the view based on the current information that we're going to experience high inflation this year.
That's a lot of words for saying I agree. But Doc, I mean, you live on this beautiful hill, you have these gardens, You've obviously read the economy quite well over the years and made some smart decisions.
Well, I don't know about that, but I have to confess, of course, I'm not into finance as such. I'm not an economist, but I guess I use my common sense like most average people. And to me, it's quite obvious that one has to invest in real assets, and therefore I've always tried to invest in real estate. But as you know, I also was very keen on the stock market. But I have to confess that now I've kind of moved on to blockchain technology.
And your advice to
Maybe you can
those
start
sort of-
on blockchain. Like, why the switch to blockchain?
Well,
What's the principle there?
when it came to the Zimbabwean Stock Exchange, where I was very active, I realized that everything was denominated in Zim dollars, which is, you know, is going down every day. And I looked at the US dollar and I realized that they were also printing, like we used to in Zim. So I said to myself, wow, how does one return the wealth or the value of what one has? So when I came across blockchain technology and I read into it, I investigated, I researched, I came to the conclusion that the world is moving towards blockchain technology. And therefore, I decided to make the move. And I did.
So you are now in cryptocurrency.
Yes. Not just, the cryptocurrency, yes. And I also strongly believe in DeFi, decentralized finance. I believe in dApps, the decentralized applications. I also
What's the philosophy behind? Because you seem to be pushing one particular philosophy, an idea that you have, or that you've bought into.
Well, Tinashe, I've been looking at history. And if you remember, when the internet started, some people didn't believe in it. I mean, before, if I had to communicate with you, I'd go to the post office and send you a letter or a telegram. And when the internet started, people thought, well, this is just a fad, it will disappear. Now everybody uses the internet. We send emails to each other and it's instant. I think the same thing applies to finance. Finance is going to move from fiat currency as we know it, definitely to blockchain technology, to not just Bitcoin, but the other tokens, not only money.
You compatriots at the Central Bank and Ministry of Finance think otherwise. In fact, they've gone as much as ban exchanges in Zimbabwe. What's your take on that?
I think it's very sad, actually. And I've said it before on one program. The world, whether we like it or not, is going to move towards blockchain technology. You can see today in Ukraine, people who are donating to Ukraine today for the war effort are donating in Bitcoin and Ethereum.
That's true.
In cryptocurrencies.
But I mean, look, there's always been ideas and new concepts, but they haven't always succeeded. So why do you think that this one will succeed where other ideas have failed?
Well, George, currencies have a lifetime.
Do they?
Oh, they do.
Oh, yeah.
They do. You agree?
I know, I totally agree. I think only 15% of currencies that have been issued since fiat, which is 50 years, have survived.
It's not actually 50 years, more like 2000, because the Roman currency was a fiat currency. They started debasing their coins.
No, the
adding
new
more base
fiat.
metal. So,
We're talking about the new fiat.
but I think the longer historical context is interesting and important, because what it tells us is that issuers of currency can be reliable for long periods of time, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. But somewhere along the line, because they are run by humans, they're human institutions, they fail. They get things horribly wrong, and they lose the faith and confidence of users, and users move to a different currency. So before the US dollar was the world's reserve currency, it was the British pound. And before that, it was a different currency. And before that, and before that. So we know that, in as much as today, the US dollar is the reserve currency of the world, it enjoys the faith and confidence of most people on the planet. At some stage, they're going to be arrogant or hubristic and they're going to print and destroy that faith and confidence, and people are going to move on to the next thing.
And by
I think
that's a
what
doc's argument.
you know, people, the beauty about a lot of these cryptos is that it's ingrained in their establishment that printing is not possible. So you know that there's going to be
It's a
limited supply, and that not only are there rules around printing, there is no one party that can wake up tomorrow and say, I don't like George, I like the doc, so I'm going to freeze these accounts, I'm going to behave in a way that's outside the rules because I'm the powerful one. It's decentralized. Nobody can bend the rules or break the constitution. So you have very high conviction that it's going to behave in a particular way forever, which is not true for any fiat currency.
Okay.
So what do you say about...
You guys are going down a rabbit hole. Doc, advice. Joe Soap, Mary Soap, well, Joe Piri, Mary Piri in Harare. My salary every month is worth less. I'm trying to feed my kids. Your advice. What should I be doing?
I honestly think that every Zimbabwean right now needs education and information on where the world is going, and that is blockchain technology. We need to learn about it, we need to understand it, and we need to start investing in it. And one can invest $50 or $100. I know there's some mechanisms where I know that exchanges like Binance, for instance, is a Zimbabwean card. But there are other ones like Kraken, you can register as a Zimbabwean. KuCoin, you can. There's one called BitGet, you can. So we need now information, education to understand this. If we don't, we'll be left behind and we'll always be poor. Because few people understand this, and the few who get in now will be very wealthy. I was, there are some Zimbabweans in South Africa, they call themselves Njenga's Academy, but they're under NUI, which is from Salt Lake City, and they're doing education programs. They were here the other day, and they actually came to this house and we had a chat. And they train people. Of course, one has to pay a joining fee. And once you do that, 1 o'clock they have a seminar. They have another seminar at 6 o'clock and then 9 o'clock. And they actually tell you what to get into, at what prices, and then when to take profit. And then there was another lady who was giving a testimony, and she was given $100, and within about 3-4 weeks, she now had 2,000. She went by 20 times. Now that's a lot. Imagine somebody puts $100, and end up with $2,000 in 3-4 weeks. Our people have to just wake up because we know our currency is going down. And those
what about the
US dollar is going down?
The volatility. So the thing that you're running away from a fiat currency because of its volatility, because it loses value, but it's less volatile. So if you look at the US dollar, it's less volatile than your cryptos. What's your take on that? Because a lot of people will say, you know what, it might be a good idea, but the volatility, some of us don't have as strong hearts as you do.
Or indeed the capacity to absorb the losses.
The losses, yeah.
Well, when you invest, you only lose when you sell. If you don't sell, you're still in there.
So hold.
Yeah. We know with cryptocurrencies, you're right, there's so much volatility. So you need nerves, diamond nerves. Once you're in there, you're in there. If you hold what you have, you know at some point, although it goes down a lot, it'll come up again. So once you understand that, you're fine. But if you panic, you lose. And for me, because I understand, you see, it doesn't matter what you look at. If you look at the Zim dollar, you know what it's all down. US dollar is exactly the same. Like
it's one way.
Yeah. So right now,
It's just the rate of decline that's different.
Well, some could argue gold, that we don't have Nezo still, but I think gold.
Why don't they just buy gold?
Yeah.
Interesting. And I think you and I have had this discussion before. You went for gold, I went for crypto. And you know what's happened? What to my Bitcoin, what happened to your gold?
Oh, is this where Tinashe has been putting his money?
Oh, yeah. We had a long discussion. He gave me a call, and I said, Tinashe, because I went into gold. And then I realized it wasn't moving. So I quickly took my funds off, and I went to Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, in that conference, I mean, when I went in, it was like 6,000, and in 12 months, it went up to 60,000, 10 times. Gold didn't move that much. The thing,
But I
Tinashe,
could sleep well at night.
Oh, I understand that. But what I have to tell you, Tinashe, is this. The world is going digital. And the millennials, all these young people, are going digital. Bitcoin is digital gold. You see, gold, yes, time immemorial. This is the reserve of wealth. But that's history. Right now, we say Bitcoin is digital gold. So young people, because they're digital, they're going to go for Bitcoin rather than gold. And also, here's the other thing. If you have a lot of gold, let's assume you have a lot of gold in this country, and something happens. Say you're in Ukraine, for instance. Yeah, Ukraine is a good example. People who have a lot of wealth in Ukraine today are running away from their own country because of the war. You can't carry your gold bars with you. You just can't. But those who have Bitcoin or Ethereum, you remember a lot is coming to the country in donations. They can easily take it out. It's just in your cell phone or in your computer, which you carry with you. And if I have my wealth in cyberspace, if I'm in Australia, if I'm in China, if I'm in America, if I'm in Zimbabwe, I have my wealth with me, and I can cross borders with my wealth. This is the big difference, gentlemen.
This is probably a very good place for us to take a break. So, Sergio, did somebody actually just shut you up?
No. It didn't shut me up. It's an entertaining
Oh, I
view.
think Tinashe has eaten crow on the gold Bitcoin argument.
No. I think to me,
we'll go for a break. Allow you to lick your wounds. And maybe you can.
Yes.
You might have a comeback.
And if you have a shot of Mitch's to soothe your pain, we won't tell anyone.
See you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back. And you're still stumped.
well, not quite. So back to the debate or the ensuing debate between gold and crypto. So I think that crypto, as an investment, you're quite right. I think that if you've got the heart of steel that you have, I think it's something that's
Of diamond.
And of diamond as well. But I think that as a store of wealth, I still very much believe that gold as a store of wealth, because the utility of gold is, if a Ukraine should happen or something should happen, you can always build your house out of gold. You can always have gold teeth. What would you have with Bitcoin? If
Gold
Bitcoin,
house, gold teeth.
just hear the argument.
You had the whole break to frame your argument.
Just hear the
And
argument.
this is the best you came back with?
Just hear the argument. If Bitcoin comes, if the value of Bitcoin goes to zero, what do you do with Bitcoin?
Okay.
I know exactly what to do with my gold. When the price of gold comes to zero, I will build my house. I will have gold.
Because it's a
here.
material.
Because it's got utility. We call it the utility value of money. Whereas Bitcoin, if the value comes to zero,
Would we still like Tinashe to smile at us if he had gold teeth?
Okay.
I don't like him smiling at me anyway.
Tinashe, I hear you.
yeah, let's hear his argument.
Right.
If Bitcoin comes to zero, what do you do with the Bitcoins?
Okay. First, Bitcoin will never come to zero. This is a fact I'm telling you now. Now you talk about utility.
But that's speculating. Don't.
No. Gold has no utility. You talk about gold teeth. Okay.
No, we're saying the price of anything can come to zero. So the price.
Okay,
price of
you
gold
guys are going down a rabbit
can
hole.
come to
We'll
zero.
give you a rabbit hole. But can we maybe
Move on
to things that normal people understand and follow?
All right.
By the way, I'm
jarring
actually a supporter of
images.
crypto. I'm actually a supporter
Jarring
of
images
crypto.
of Tinashe with gold teeth.
Doc, in the last few weeks, we've had a lot of excitement on the show and on social media. This young man here has taken a beating on social media. Rivaro,
Yeah.
yes, on his views about education, and we've been accused of being elitist. But we focused mainly on primary and secondary education. But I know you've been very much involved with education at the tertiary level in this country.
Yes.
You're thinking of where we are, the problems, what
yeah.
needs to be done to fix it?
Not just education at the tertiary level. Here are my beliefs. If we are going to move forward, if we want to leapfrog other countries, we have to invest in education at every level, even from ECD and primary level, secondary level, and tertiary level. Education is key to everything. You want to have more engineers, more lawyers, more doctors, you have to invest in education. You know, I was chairman of Bindura University for 10 years. So I used to host President Mugabe and Minister Mdenge for graduation purposes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Were you the founding president? Founding chairman?
No. Founding chairman was Professor Chitsanga, and I was second after him. And I told them at that time that if I had any power, I'd invest in education more than anything else. But that's the only way we can move the country forward. Now, I believe that our kids, even at ECD level, should be au fait with computers. Kids must be taught financial literacy in primary school level. They must know about investments in primary school. And I really believe in that. And I'm also patron of the Zimbabwe Rural Schools Library Trust. And I thought I should lead from the front. So I went back to my primary school in my village where I went to school, and we built a computer center in the library, an ICT center. There's two parts, one for the kids, one for the adults, so that even old people in the village can come in night school and learn about computers. We have to be computer savvy. We have to understand about finance if we're going to move forward. And for me, it's painful to see teachers suffering and all this, because we have to invest in them. We've got to invest in the infrastructure, the buildings. We've got to invest, as I say, in computers. Every Zimbabwean child should have a computer in grade one.
But from a practical point of view, how do we do this? I mean, Tinashe, you published some numbers last week on this.
Yeah.
I mean, how much are we spending? How much can we spend on education?
So in Zimbabwe, we're spending $91 a year on a student. That's the budget. If you look at the budget allocation, it's $91 because we've got 8 million students.
I'm tempted to hide this bottle of whiskey.
$91. When you look at Singapore and South Korea, they're spending upwards of 12,000 a year.
But more interestingly, you in your paper you went on to say, if we spend the entire budget, how much would we be spending?
Well, the entire budget is like $3 billion. So if we were to spend the entire budget, I think we would get to something like 200 to 250 US dollars. So it's still
woefully inadequate.
So
So practically, how do we
the problem
solve
is not
this
that
problem?
the government is not allocating enough, because we just don't have
it's
enough.
just not it's not enough.
So how do we solve this problem?
Okay, here's my point of view, because I've looked around and I quote Finland. Finland is supposed to have the best education system in the world, the best health service in the world, and also they have the highest index of happiness in the world. And I said, I think a few years ago, the prime minister was a 34-year-old lady, and the whole cabinet was between 34 and maybe 29 years of age.
So I'd be too old to be in the cabinet.
Oh yeah, I shouldn't be in the cabinet. No, oh no,
it's too late.
too late.
So my 2030.
I want to comment on that, but what I'm trying to say is, it is very possible for us to invest in our education system, starting, as I say, from young kids. Yeah. If we do that, we'll have a different country.
But how do we fund it?
Practically, how do we do it?
Doc, because this has been the issue, right? That he took a beating for. He simply said what Tinashe is saying, that we can't afford free education. So how
Privatize, yeah.
No, not just in privatize. I go back to my other, my three favorite countries, which are very different, are Finland, Singapore, and Cuba, and they're very, very different.
I like Cuba. These guys don't.
They don't.
I like Cuban cigars.
Okay, all right. I from high school, you know, when we were discussing in high school about political, socio-economic systems, as most young people do when you're young and idealistic. I like the Cuban Revolution because this idea of giving education to everybody and giving health to everyone appealed to me. I think every individual has a right to good education. Every child has a right to good health. And the Cubans don't have what we have. They don't have all these minerals, soils. I mean, they have sugarcane and they have tourism, but they developed the human intellect to a very high level. This is why Cuba today, I mean, their population is like Zimbabwe, but they don't have what the minerals, the resources that we have. But if you look even at the Olympic medals, you know, Cuba, like Zimbabwe population, they have more
Per
gold
capita.
medals
Mm.
at the Olympics than in other South American country. Because, oh yes, they develop people health, good health. So they're sporting people, you know, judo or karate or boxing or basketball and so on. They play very well. And they give health to everybody. So Cubans are very healthy. They have a longer lifespan than somebody in Scotland. Their infant mortality figures are better than Washington, D.C. This is a country, small population, with no resources, but this.
But
That's
Doc,
the difference.
so going back to your Cuba example,
Yes.
I think that what you eventually end up with are two kinds of people getting exactly the same education, but what they have as a meritocracy is it's very good for the very intelligent. So if you're very intelligent in Cuba, then you get the best. You get into the science programs, you can become a doctor, and life will be okay for you. But if you're not as intelligent, you're going to end up as a gardener and a maid in the US.
No, that's a different story because there you could be a mechanic, you could be a builder, you could be a plumber if you're not academic. So society has to create opportunities for everybody. See, I always say to my staff that the difference between me and the gardener here and the security guard is opportunity. That's the difference.
You don't
If-
think it's IQ?
You could have the best IQ. If you don't have the opportunity, you end up as a gardener. There are a lot of people who are very intelligent, but never got the opportunity. Therefore, they end up in
Well, you figure it out. The idea of a high IQ is even though you're a gardener, you will figure it out.
Not necessarily. You see, one of the things we did establish was my family, we have a family trust and we give a scholarship fund. So we have we pay fees for a lot of students through universities. And I've noticed that you have kids, they come to me and say, you know, doctor, I lost my mother, my mother and my father. I've got 3 A's at A levels. I'd like to go to university. But they don't have the money. And this is, I've seen this almost every day. I get kids coming to me all the time. And then I realize these kids, if you don't help them, they'll end up on the streets. Maybe you take drugs or prostitution or maybe if they're lucky, maybe they end up as gardeners and so on. We need to create a society where every child, doesn't matter their background, how poor they are, whether they've lost parents or not, but a society where we give opportunities to every child to develop them to the maximum level, intellectually and physically.
And I think it would be disingenuous, Tinashe, if, at least among the three of us, if we didn't acknowledge that, if we'd grown up in a different environment or with different parents, we'd be where we are today.
Well, I did it might be anecdotal, but if you look at all the high achievers in Zimbabwe society, all of them, you realize that the highest concentration is people who actually grew up in worse circumstances than you and I, who grew up Kumusha, right?
How is that a worse circumstance? That sounds awfully elitist.
Where they didn't have books, they didn't have anything, and yet they're at the top and they're the creme de la creme of Zim society.
No, but
how is that possible?
We must be
That's
careful.
where my argument
But
about IQ comes from.
but we must be
That
careful.
these are people
but
who grew up
but
in a
Tinashe,
society
we must be
that
careful
didn't
about-
have opportunities.
we must be careful about judging any
You
concept.
didn't hear the argument.
No, I heard your argument, and I'm responding to it. We must be careful about judging any concept based on exceptions, right? So
It's not an exception.
no, can I finish? So if you're talking about the top 1%, I think we must exclude the top 1%. Let's talk about the next 20%.
Yeah.
And what you'll find about the next 20%, I would put it to you, is that you'll find that they had a lucky break. They were from families of means, or
No,
families that were better
absolutely
off
not.
than the average
I
family.
can give you the stats. So you like the sound of your voice, but not the stats. So I could give you the stats. If you
talk a lot more than me.
if you look at the diasporans, the diasporans that have done well, who are actually sending were.
But you're talking about the 1%.
Money. No, it's not.
No, let him
1%,
finish.
it's not the 20%.
I want to hear this point.
A lot of them went to mission schools. They didn't come from well-off families. A lot of them went to mission schools.
They went to
And
which
these
schools?
are the engineers.
They went to which schools?
Mission schools.
Mission
What we
schools.
term mission schools.
And do poor kids go to mission schools?
Yes, actually.
No, poor kids don't go to
Yes.
mission schools.
Mission schools, because you see,
The cheapest
your
Okay,
idea,
no.
your idea
Forget
of a
about
mission
whether
school-
they're poor people or not poor people who go to mission schools. As a percentage of schools in this country, what percentage are mission schools?
we say the 20%, the top 20%.
No,
and
no,
I'm saying
no,
the
no.
top 20%
Sangana
of
Nemu
Zimbabweans,
or
the 20% of Zimbabweans that have done well have gone to
Are
mission,
mission
schools.
schools a high percentage of schools in this country?
Of the 20% that have done well.
No.
Yes.
Of schools in this country, are
Yeah.
mission schools a high percentage?
No.
Or they're a minority, or
They're
they're a small
minority,
percentage?
but they contribute
So
the...
they're elite.
Tinashe,
They
what-
contribute the
Tinashe,
most.
Tinashe, what's a high school in your village called?
Well, there's Good Mission, there's Mpandawana.
No, in your
there's-
village, not Good Mission. Good Mission is for the whole district. The one in your
No, that's actually
no,
in my village.
the school
In my
run by
village, it's
the school
Good Mission.
the school run by the council in your village. What is it called?
There's Mpandawana.
No, that's in town. You don't even know the school in your
My
village.
village is close to Mpandawana. It's
If
like
you-
3
okay,
kilometers from Mpandawana.
In my
So
village,
you can't tell me.
in my village, the high school is called Njeza. That's funded by council. I can say with 99.9% certainty, Njeza has never produced a doctor. The number of people from Njeza that have become teachers will be a tiny minority. Most of the kids that have gone to that school have stayed in the village.
They're not in the top 20%.
Even the
That's
top
his
20%.
point.
No, and where are the 20% coming from? And I'm saying the 20% are coming from mission schools.
No, but mission schools are not even the
Mission
correct
schools are
standard.
elite
Okay,
schools.
here's my view, gentlemen. All of us here is Zimbabweans. You see, each of us has a responsibility to create a change. We have to accept our lives are finite. We're only here for a certain period in our lives, then
Three
we're
square and
gone.
10.
Yes, we can look up to the government to do something, but sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. But that doesn't take away our responsibility as individuals to make a difference in the communities that we came from or we grew up in. And the advantage that we have here is we have some education, some exposure, and that must be used to go back to where we came from to make a difference. And I've seen this many times. Each of us can make a difference in other people's lives if we decide to do that. So at every level, doesn't matter, you don't have to be rich to make a difference. At that level, you can make a difference. So we go back to our villages, and this is the reason why I thought I should have a library and an ICT center in my primary school, so that kids. I didn't have a computer. I only had a computer when I was an adult, But imagine kids in the village now start playing with the computers and they have Wi-Fi. They can communicate with the rest of the world. If every child in Zimbabwe, and we don't even have to wait for government, let's just do it ourselves as Zimbabweans. I mean, if you look around, I mean, you guys know better than I do, the number of homes which are being built around Harare, not just Harare, you go to any small city, people are building beautiful homes, which means there's some money in this
Circulating,
community.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In the community, yeah.
So
So responsibility must be with the community.
definitely, community, families, individuals. Let's make a change at that level, that basic level, and make sure. In the past, orphans were often looked after by family. When I see people begging on the streets, I feel pain. That shouldn't happen in our society. We should be able to take care of everybody. Every child must have a shelter. Every child must have health, education, and so on.
But
We need to do that.
But is that a sustainable and scalable model? I mean, if we're looking at it from a national perspective and saying, how do we solve our problems as a nation? Can we solve our problems by delegating it back to families and individuals?
Right. Now, that's very controversial, very contentious in the sense that, you see, leadership has a responsibility because I'm running this home, I'm running my business, I'm running my practice. I set the tone for my business. I set the tone on how this home is run, how the gardens should look, and so on. They know, everybody here knows how I want my things done. So that's responsibility of leadership. But, I mean, we are different, okay? Everybody's different. So I'm not a politician, and I don't want to be a politician. But in my own sphere of influence, I should be able to influence things that I can control and I can influence. And I'm saying that each one of us here has a sphere of influence. And let's make sure that in that sphere, we do the best to create a better world for those who come in contact with us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that dovetails with Tinashe and I's libertarian view that you actually want to devolve responsibility and progress to people with skin in the game, to community. So instead of having a bureaucrat who's never been to this part of the world, the responsibility of making sure that there are no potholes, that there's lighting, that there's adequate security. Let the community that actually lives here make those decisions. What are the rules around what you should contribute to make sure that the roads are better, that the lighting works, that the schools are decent, that rubbish is collected, right? This idea that someone in an air-conditioned office, in an ivory tower, who's never interacted with the community in a particular place, is making decisions that affect that community. It's not going to work, because if the system is broken, if there's corruption, they don't care, because they don't live there, they don't experience life in that community. But if the community is making the decisions, then they're much more sensitive to the policy and whether it's working or not.
So you're doubling down on this argument. You have not taken enough of a beating on social media.
No. So there's nowhere in the world, and I will challenge anybody to present data that says otherwise, where you have an ivory tower that makes decisions for people at a local level that are better than the decisions that the locals would make themselves.
So, Doc, this is an interesting argument, which I will be a little bit naughty and pivot, because it resonates with some of your beliefs about our identity as Africans and Black people. And
Yes. There was a lot of people don't know this because it's under copyright. There were about 15 geneticists who looked at the different genes of different species and different races. And they talked about DNA series. And they found out that the more DNA series a species or a race has, the more chance of getting genius or advanced intellect there is. And you looked at the orangutan, and it has 3 DNA series. They looked at the apes.
So in other words, it's got 3 big
DNA
ancestors.
series. Yeah. Apes have 4 DNA series. The chimpanzee, which is very close to the human race, has got 5 DNA series. Yeah. They went to Europe. They went to Asia. The Europeans, the Asians have 6 DNA series. Then they came to Africa, West Africa, Southern Africa. Black people have 9 DNA series. You'll never hear of this. And this is under copyright at Yale University. Now, this explains why in 1932, the blacks were allowed to participate in the Olympics. Today, who wins 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 5,000 meters? Look at boxing, look at basketball. This explains this. If you have a level playing field, the 9 DNA series will come up.
Should win. Yeah.
You look at music, from the spiritual songs, from the cotton fields. You look at blues, you look at jazz, you look at soul music, you look at hip hop. If you listen to jazz carefully, it's as complex as classical music. And this came from that 9 DNA series. A little island like Jamaica.
Perhaps not rap music, but jazz, I agree.
Do not denigrate rap.
But a genre
Anyway,
like reggae, it comes from a small population from Jamaica, 3 million people. It took over the whole world. You talk about hip hop. I remember one time I was in Hong Kong, and one time I was in Singapore, and last time I was in India, and they were producing music and they were rapping. So I said, where did they come from? They said, oh, from America. People don't realize this came from the inner city, from black people.
Yeah.
So the creativity, the genius, the energy
Can I come in
that
and
people
say
have, they don't realize it.
a very interesting thing. Complete
Yeah.
sidebar. I'm supposed to be keeping everybody on track, but because you've touched on this,
You hate chickens because you're a chicken.
but the Mbira song Nema Msasa.
Mhm.
There is a professor at a university in America. I think it's in Washington. I can't remember, but it's on Spotify. If you look for this podcast, Nema Msasa, the beat,
Yeah.
is the same played forward and played backward.
Backwards, yeah.
If you play it forward or backward, and then you play it half a beat, like so, if it was going 1 3 5, and you're playing it, you play it once at 1 3 5 7, and then you intersperse it at 2 4 6 8, like in between the beats. It's the same song.
The point is the genius that black people have, but they don't realize it.
Yeah.
I know, women get angry with me when I talk about hair and skin. That's a different story. We'll talk about.
Let's talk about the hair and skin.
And how do you connect it to genius and creativity?
Yes. We're talking about the genes, right?
Yeah.
And believe me, because some people think when I talk like this, I'm being racist. Right here I have a dancing pad, right? And in this place, I've had South Korean women come here to dance, Japanese. I've had Chinese, I've had Indians, I've had white ladies and black ladies come here to learn to dance because I'm a dancer and I do Latino dancing. And I always say, and this is a fact, my claim to fame is that the day that Prince Harry and Meghan got married, I danced in London at the ambassador's ball with the previous British ambassador, Katrina Lang. She was my dancing partner for 3 years. So I don't have a problem with race. My problem to see black people trying to imitate other races, that breaks my heart. I see them wearing the weaves and the wigs trying to look like white women. I see them bleach their skin. That breaks my heart. Because they don't have to. They have the best hair. They have the best skin, the best lips, the best behinds. These are facts I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I know this.
Look, my body,
my wife, please just note that I'm listening, but I'm not.
Yes, Tinashe,
I'm not associating myself.
Come with your argument. Yeah?
the other argument, it's my body, it's my hair.
Yes.
It's got nothing to do with you.
Yes. Thank you very much. I accept that. Everybody has their rights. They also have their choices. Now, unfortunately for me, because I go to India every year, I go to China every year, I've been to Brazil many times. My awakening, as it were, was when I went to India and I realized that the Hindus, when people die, they have a fire, lots of wood, and then the body on top, and they burn the body to ashes. Then they collect the ashes and they scatter them around depending on the wishes of the deceased. Now, they realize there's so much money in here. So now what they do, somebody dies. They put the hair. This is 100% hair. Right there. opisa the body. We come and buy that hair. We don't know what that person died of. We don't know what disease was running in the family. Tinashe, isusu tukagirwa bvudzi, when we cut our hair, itsvina tinorasa. We don't keep our hair. Isusu vanhu because you're black people with a black mentality, tikutenga tsvina yevamwe kwakufamba kuisa musoro tigofamba tichionekwa tine tsvina yevanhu musoro and we say it's normal. I mean, hey guys, how is this normal? Right. Then in India, I also saw, if we are family, we have a problem, or their ceremonies, they go to the temple, and then they have their hair cut off, completely shaved off, and it's a sacrifice, chipiro, to their gods. So I went there myself, and I saw, homeless people, very poor, very dirty. You feel sorry for them. Their hair was being shaved off. Secondly, I saw people very sick. Maybe they had TB, maybe had cancer. So you feel sorry for them when you look at them. Their hair was being shaven off. Then you have a problem in the family, you know rasira bvudzi. So I went there, they take them to the temple, then they hope their fortunes will get better. That hair is a sacrifice to the gods. So I watched this process, and then I saw the hair also. So some people come and gather that hair. Inda, rice. That's the day I said, what happened? How did black people end up actually paying for this, paying for it? Now, in Taiwan, what they do is, ladies or afaso, just before burial, the bodies are brought to one room, the hair is shaved off completely. And then from there to the cemetery. So I'm shown a big warehouse. Gentlemen, what are you doing with all this hair of people who have died? She goes, oh, my friend, this is big business. Oh, yes, black people, they love this hair. We are making tons of money, billions of money selling to black people. And I'm thinking, how is that possible? And so when I came back on the plane, I mean, this was just, it rattled me. When I grew up, I was here's the story, Tinashe. The problem we have as black people is this: so we bleach our skin to look like white people. White people, why they have that hair, is they come from a cold climate. This is nature's way of making sure, why? Why? You go to Europe, there's wool, a lot of wool, right? To keep them warm. Why is Europe? They'll die of cold. But Europe, there's wool. One tema is what we why you know, and wool. You know what I mean? But wool is a good shadow.
But I just want to defend Tinashe and say that I'm pretty sure for a fact that I know bleacher.
But anyway,
yes, George. Yes, George.
You're going down a rabbit hole.
Yes.
And it's getting dark.
Yeah.
A bit deep. But okay, let's go back to the more pleasant things. You said African women, what did I say?
Yeah, okay. Now I give talks at universities, at churches, at schools, wherever I'm invited. I talk about this. It's not so much about hair and skin, but it's the mindset. You talked about rights and choices. My question is, what would make you or an individual use their God-given choice kutenga china yomwe rudzi or kutenga vudzi remunhu akafa? Now you talk about the fibers. I'll tell you about the fibers.
Yeah, I was going
the
to ask
synthetic fibers. Yes.
Why not? So
now,
would you have a problem
with
synthetic fibers?
Yes. Let me answer you this. I think my China room in Zimbabwe, we all know what they think of us, how they treat
black people. Yeah.
Or my Koreans for that. And I go to Korea a lot, I go to China a lot, as I told you. They figured us out. Sure. Chenga China, yango marodzi. Vuzifos from dustbin, nema Indians, nema Brazilians, nema Peruvians. I would to be somebody $200, $400, $600, $800, $1,000. US dollars. Kuchenga China from binong marodzi. It's okay. It's just we've missed out on this bonanza. You see, our kubvisa mari akaundawo ndio unozvitwa nemari unopfeka 100% human hair. Okay? Wasara ukoko vari kudawo, but they can't afford these figures. It's not that black people want human hair, 100% human hair. No. It's the look they want. Kuti sewarungu so chidaiso. Saka isusu ngatigadzire mafiber on way. City fibers dzinongoita mimic warungu so. These people buy. As long as chitofunga warungu so chidai unotenga. Fiber yakagadzirwa. Let's make it so cheap. Kuti skana sisonotsvara pachiwanzewo. Okufika chiwigi kana chiwigi. I promise you to take tomato twake so okufika chiwigi chiwigi. Now, here's the story. You see, vudzirumu sorandete. Vudzirumu apom. My private parts. Pesman vudzi pano sweat, right? 2 days no geza apom. Takuno wa sweat, right? Chindi taura nini. Sweat ikavarirwa 4 weeks. 6 weeks. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. Let me finish. But not only that, pane dandruff, makwena nditi. This is normal. Makwena yari kubikira ne sweat years. Chibika na 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Other than those so. Now, the bacteria love this environment. Murukupisa nditi. Muno unyoro. So the bacteria get fat. They're feeding on the old sweat. They're feeding on the dandruff. And then they breed like crazy. I can tell you, from a medical point of view, when they say we've here for 6 weeks, they have got millions, billions, trillions of bacteria. Akazara mno share space. Akuruma musoro. Is
that why they continue?
Of course.
Okay, I've got something more positive. No, let's move on to positive things.
And we're enriching. $2 to my Indians, my Chinese, who look down on us. That's why they don't respect us. That's why we are poor. It's a mindset thing.
So
now, before I finish, George, before I finish, George, in the NASH, National Association of Secondary School Headmasters, that's grammar to be a guest speaker. You headmasters and headmistresses, you have an awesome responsibility to instill confidence in the black child. The black child must know, sweetie, there's nothing wrong with your hair. There's nothing wrong with your skin. Nature or God did not make a mistake on you. In fact, you have the best hair. You have the best skin. And I will explain this to myself. Give me a few minutes just to explain this. Nobody is telling our children this. Nanda gara papoli tunagada izga. Ndutara sama headmistress wakuru wacho. Uiso karo mawish. Ndutara sa old days that tukuchina tukenda kutrod begini uiso karo mawish. So I said to them, we have headmistresses here who are teachers, who are mothers. You're in education, you know more than I do. Because every little child looks up to the mother, looks up to the teacher, looks up to the headmistress. Mwanani natural hair. Mama wakarwa chiwigi. Teacher, headmistress chiwigi. Mwana kuti ne mind, but how come budzi riri? Arizofanira mama wangu, na teacher wangu. It means there's something wrong with me. Rona manje. Mwana tamuru wa confidence arimudi kuti there's something wrong with you. Mwana murungu ana problem you. Mwana China ana problem you. India ana problem, Japanese ana problem you. Mwana uda ni problem. Yeah. Wana mwesa wani confidence. Wakutofunga development innovation. Weda ufunga kana kukura bvudzi. Airango is right. Nufuna itachi chiwi. Skin is right. And I told these people, I said, you know what? You may say it's your choice, it's your right. What you are actually doing when you wear this weave or the wig, you are inflicting untold psychological damage on the black child. When this complex, there's something wrong with us. Adults. Adults. But in a complex, my China or better, my India or better, or better. Muchana no yamunum. My resources that you know, diamonds, gold, chichi. There's a couple of Namari, no, it's a mandate. Diamond, you know, Perok, it's not much China. It's still poor. Go, our people are poor, but the people are getting rich because we have this complex, this deep-seated complex. This is much more important. You talk about choice, God. I said to people, okay, these other races also have choices. They also have rights as you have. Ask yourself, you use your choice kutenga China, young one. Why don't they also use their choice kutenga China? Why don't they do that? That's my question.
Very deep, Doc. And I'm not sure this goes with Friday drinks.
No, this is important. You know, George, this is one of the most important things because we're not talking about hair and skin. We're talking about the mindset. If we don't change our mindset, I'm telling you, Decentralized is nothing. We're not going anywhere. This country is rich. We got everything in this country, but we're poor. And the reason we are poor is the mindset. Now, for the gentlemen, programming, in India, I speak for myself. This is what I do. When I meet ladies anywhere, in my shops or airport, and all you gentlemen, you must do this. Natural hair. This is what I do. Do not, excuse me, lady. I have to tell you that you look so beautiful, so stunning with your natural hair. You see, lady, I'm a naturalist. I absolutely adore, I respect, and I truly appreciate natural hair. When you have natural hair,
You're a pervert.
when you have natural hair,
you would think.
yeah, when you have natural hair, it means you got confidence in yourself. You got confidence on who you are. You see, lady, when you have natural hair, you got inner beauty and outer beauty. Let me finish. Natural hair is elegant. Natural hair is classy. Natural hair is chic. It's a true sign of real sophistication. Because there is no sophistication. There is no sophistication on way kutenga nakafa kugesa musoro kupea US dollars ukefomba kada kinyanduka so. There's no sophistication kutenga zima fiber ni China ugozisa musoro kuchipisa so. There's no sophistication, gentlemen. I'm sorry. I'm a disappointed and I know your audience I don't give a damn. No. I'm saying the truth.
What I want to do actually, Doc, is there's actually I want to give you an opportunity.
Yes.
To preach, to practice what you preach.
Yes.
We are Arab.
Aywa. No. My braids are okay. Oh, braids are okay. I tell you what. Yeah, I know. This is beautiful. Now, listen, you gentlemen and all the viewers. You look at Diana here.
I know Diana.
Now, Van Vatema, if you saw Miss South Africa this year, 2022, she's bold, completely bold. Miss World. And she came third. Now, once a year, I go to Milan and I go to Paris. You see these girls from South Sudan, very tall, dark, very dark, and they're bold, and they got big earrings, and they're on the catwalk. No other race can pull it off. A black woman named Zuda is like a goddess. Murungu akata Zuda tafunga maybe aripa chemotherapy and cancer. Mu India Zuda ribude mchina west, Japanese west. But avakani Zuda like a goddess. That's number one. Number two, check out any black woman named short hair. They look cute, they look clean, and they look younger. My wig make our women look older. Number three, check out any black woman, any afro. It's like they have a crown on their head. They look majestic like a queen. Only one race can have an afro, the black woman. No other race can have an afro. Ndakasponza machisamba show. Zvikandi mukadzi angari audience. Ndisu chete kanitine bvudzi rakatarisa kudenga kuna Mwari. The black woman. No other race can do that, right? Number four, madzimai akangodhunza bvudzi kudzosera kudai. They can do that with their own hair. Number five, they can plait their hair, bands, 1,000 different styles. No other race on earth can do that but a black woman. Number six, I am a dreads manja. They look sexy. Look at Diana. She looks sexy. No other race can do this but a black woman. Now, she's on way. She tells me trees and madzimedu. Bara wakanaka, short hair wakanaka, afro wakanaka, buzikata straight kudonza wakanaka, wakarukwa wakanaka, wakana my locks wakanaka. 6 options. No other race has 6 options with hair, but these ladies. Now, They can look like them, but the other races can never look at another Diana. Why? Because our name is Eve gene. The Eve gene, only one creature, one organism on Earth has the Eve gene. Eve gene comprises the whole genome of the human race. If we go to Tokyo today, it can have genes out, it can have Sweden, it can have genes out, it can have South Korea, it can have India, it can have Argentina. My genes is higher. Only one organism in my genes is higher. The black woman. Those are any more options is higher but they don't understand it. Those are going to talk about social media. They don't understand it. But I know what I'm talking about. She is the mother of the human race. The human race was created in Africa, was born in Africa by her. That's why she has all these options. Skin your way. This is the most beautiful skin in the world. Why? When a pigment, melanin. Because when a melanin, they don't wrinkle easily. Those are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Skin your kanaka. Varongo, early 40s, they wrinkle. Ocean's anti-wrinkling cream, anti-aging cream, Botox, plastic surgery. Diana will never need that. 2, because kuchando, vuzirao skin yao, already my skin cancers. Black women don't have skin cancers because when protection, melanin. Those are albinos, when my skin cancer because anachi melanin. Mako bleach. Mako visa melanin. Don't what common. Chico udofo wacho. You know what I mean? Now we go to the lips. Look at her lips. Her lips are thick. They are fulsome. They are luscious. They are sexy.
Dan, are you getting
every race? What my lips are
getting embarrassed?
Sure. You know, you see a picture. You know, Black Panther, the movie. After Black Panther, Avengers, Infinity Wars, I was invited to the premiere in Hollywood. So I went there. Now, you see the pictures right there near Director 99. You see, what my lips are Diana. Any hot-blooded men want to kiss these lips. Botox in my lips could talk a volume, cannot Diana Udara. Now we go to the behinds. I go to Brazil a lot. I've seen doctors who make a lot of money from behind the madzmaya. With Botox implants, Ana Diana no Udara. So Ana Diana, and I want to tell this to all the black women and the black men listening. Madzmaya, they got the best hair with more options than any other race. Our ladies have the best skin, which doesn't wrinkle, no skin cancers. Our ladies have got the best lips, thick, fulsome, luscious, sexy. Madzmaya only my behinds are erotic. Do chow. George, you want me to say anymore?
No. We've never actually said that we're a family show, but we've always assumed that we're a family show. But Diana,
I'm here.
Are you inspired by these words to maybe drop a bunch of bars?
It's very inspiring and motivational.
Well, but maybe you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your luscious lips and your your beautiful skin.
I can tell you something about my hair. And
Thank you.
Since birth. The only time that I tried it, I then met you, Masegla, the lady.
Yes, you used to come here also, in this bar. Yes.
And so I've had this hair for the past 13 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wonderful. I just need to add something on. One time I was flying from Addis to Washington. Short hair. So I compliment her. Hey, you are the first man ever to compliment me on my natural hair. Because I come from Burkina Faso, I work for the AU here in Addis. West Africa, almost if you are somebody, you got to have a weave. You got to bleach your skin. Because I will not bleach and I will not weave. To the extent that women who are pregnant want to have tablets, white. This is painful, guys. Because everybody wants to pass around a white baby. They are white. this is how bad this is. So, gentlemen, you might take it lightly because you can't tell our wives what to do. And so our politicians are but I'm just saying the truth, guys. That's all I'm saying. George.
No, thank you, Doc. Yes, you say you've never had a weave?
I had weaves kudhara ndikatukwa ndikasiya. So for the past 13 to 14 years, andinombobvira ndaiswaweave.
But I'm gonna look at this.
And how long have you been singing?
Come on.
I've been singing for 16 years.
Oh, so most of your career, this is you, eh?
Music, yes.
What kind of music are you making?
I started as an urban groover, the young generation.
Urban groover.
Urban grooves was a community of young people.
Were you part of Chamembe?
I was part of Chikotiro Studios.
Ah.
Yes, which was another angle of Chamembe. So, yes, I started from there, and then I moved to Afro jazz music as I matured with age. And then now, I think I found myself in Zimbabwe traditional music.
Really?
That's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Or Zambira?
Yes, the Gwenyambira cards.
Wow.
So what we're talking about, Nemam Sasa,
I totally understand.
you recognize, eh?
Yes, I do.
And these long bars and Shona traditional music with odd numbers of beats in a bar.
Just the long progression too.
You know, it's a very interesting thing. So jazz is 4 beats to a bar. You'd think I can actually play music, but I've read about it. Jazz is 4 beats to a bar.
No, we know
and most classical music.
know that you're just a nerd.
And most classical music is 8 beats to a bar. But music is generally an even number of beats to a bar, which means you do the same thing with your left hand a certain number of times, then you start again. Shona traditional music, Jit, Mbira, has odd numbers of beats to a bar.
Wow.
And very long bars.
I do know that.
So you have to do, so you've got up to, I think the longest, about 21 beats or something like that.
Wow.
So you have to do 21 different things before you start again.
So
and then when you start again, what you were doing with your left foot 21 beats ago,
Wow.
you're not doing with your right foot.
So that's the genius we're talking about, the 9 genius
Mathematically,
series.
it's
it's
very,
amazing.
very difficult
Absolutely
to master
amazing.
our traditional music.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. That's fascinating.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this.
But anyway,
So let's let Diana do her thing.
Yeah.
And because I've heard enough of George's voice.
I have hardly said anything. He's the one who's been talking.
George, don't say one thing, guys. Kana une mudzimai wako akapfeka weave wigi. Muchipinda magumbezi, une wakadzituma gumbezi. DNA yemukadzi wako DNA imwe bvunziro usingazoti akabva kupinda munhu akafa DNA iri magumbezi. Okay, Diana, please go ahead.
Take it away.
Go ahead.
Manoera wira mugomo akaringe zuva bepo ichauya manoera kandai akatatora pfumo rangu bepo ichauya manoera wira mugomo akaringe zuva bepo ichauya manoera kandai akatatora pfumo rangu bepo ichauya manoera machembere ndati vanoera makombo yayo vanoera machembere ndati vanoera makombwe tate guru dzimutipenzira muhacha waite bvute ndati zvinoera fuko vakuru ndakuchidzira matarenga asimuke nawo tiende ndaita mukombe mumwe mbuya chiweshe muripiko ndaita bako ribodzi maraire ndiraire ndaita mukombe mumwe mbuya chiweshe muripiko ndaita bako ribodzi
maraire ndiraire vanoera vanoera kwira mugomo akaringe zuva mhepo ichauya vanoera vanoera kandai akatatora pfumo rangu mhepo ichauya vanoeravo vanoeravo kwira mugomo akaringe zuva mhepo ichauya vanoeravo vanoeravo kandai akatatora pfumo rangu tateguru dzimutipenzira muacha waite bvute ndati zvinoera pfuko vakuru ndakuchidzira matarenga asimuke nawo tiende ndaite mukombe mumwe mbuya chiweshe muripiko ndaite bako ribodzi maraire ndiraire ndaite mukombe mumwe mbuya chiweshe muripiko ndaite bako ribodzi maraire ndiraire vanoera vanoera kwira mugomo wakaringe zuva mhepo ichauya vanoera vanoera kandai akatatora pfumo rangu mhepo ichauya vanoera machembero ndati vanoera makombwe. Thank you. The name is Diana Samkange. Kana kuti matuonesa. Ndo zita randakapiwa kumusha kwedu. Ndo zita razi mbuya mbuya. Kana kuti mangwenya. Thank you so much. It's nice to be here. We're going to do a song called Nazca in A key, Township Jazz. Wapenzisa kuponda moyo wangu, kukanya moyo wangu kungesadza rembwa yawatamba nasi ndiyo yandinoti MD MD zvichireva kuti mucheka dzafa iwe ndakakupa moyo wangu ukarasa kure wapedzisa moyo wangu iwe mucheka dzafa ndakakutaurira natsakwa wabva kwaunoenda usiku ndakakutaurira natsakwa wabva kwaunoenda usiku kwaunoenda usiku iwe kwaunoenda usiku iwe kwaunoenda usiku iwe wapenzisa kuponda moyo wangu kukanya moyo wangu kungesadza rembwa yawatamba nasi ndiyo yandinoti MD MD zvichireva kuti mucheka dzafa iwe ndakakupa moyo wangu ukarasa kure wapedzisa moyo wangu iwe mucheka dzafa ndakakutaurira natsakwa wabva kwaunoenda usiku ndakakutaurira kutaurira natsakwa wabva zabadadada zabadadada hey 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 Dakakutaurira 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 Oh Dakakutaurira Natsakwa wabva kunoenda usiku Dakakutaurira Natsakwa wabva kwaunoenda usiku. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to do a song called Kumagumo Irudo. I know that in this naguita song yoyo daigona kusatambira. Thank you so much. The name once again is Diana Samkange, aka Mangwenya. So to all the loved ones in the house, kanata waya kuzodiwa, waya kuzoda, waya kuzochaga, waya kuzochaga. Shagadara. Love is a beautiful thing. Ishendinzwe iwo munamato wangu samatenga inzwa iwo mteuro wangu mudiwa wangu baba muchengetedze iwo nezvese zvatakavaka zvivumbamire nekuti rudo ndirwo rwandinoda kusvikira ndaoma nekuti kudiwa ndiko kwandinoda kusvikira ndafa nekuti rudo ndirwo rwandinoda kusvikira ndaoma nekuti kudiwa ndiko kwandinoda kusvikira ndafa Kumagumo erudo Dinoshuvira tsashi Kumagumo erudo Dinoshuvira tsashi Kumagumo erudo Dinoshuvira tsashi Ke kumagumo Inzwaiwa Munamato wangu ishe Rudo muno munyika Garusambo gumaimi Nekuti Chipo chamakati paimimi Chinoshuvirwa nevanhu vakawanda Mwariwe Nekuti rudo ndirwo rwandinoda kusvikira ndaoma Nekuti kudiwa ndiko kwandinoda kusvikira ndafa Nekuti rudo ndirwo rwandinoda kusvikira ndaoma Nekuti rudo ndirwo rwandinoda kusvikira ndafa Oh, kumagumo erudo Dinoshuvira tsashi Kumagumo erudo Iwerende Dinoshuvira tsashi Kumagumo erudo Dinoshuvira tsashi Kumagumo erudo Iwerende Dinoshuvira tsashi So we go a bit of folk songs Tiri babu Anzione mume mjembiri Toera mzimudzoka Oine mzimudzoka mzimudzoka oine mzimudzoka toera mzimudzoka iwe oine mzimudzoka toera mzimudzoka oine mzimudzoka machembere timika munotsvaire nzira timika makasunge mudya timika munokomborera machembere timika munotsvaire nzira timika makasunge mudya timika munokomborera toera mzimudzoka oine mzimudzoka toera mzimudzoka iwe oine mzimudzoka unzi toera mzimudzoka oine mzimudzoka unzi toera mzimudzoka oine mzimudzoka unzi toera mzimudzoka 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 kumagumo magumo erudo tinoshuvira tisasvika kumagumo magumo erudo ndinoshuvira tisasvike. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alpha, everyone.
Right, you see, this is for the benefit of all you young guys around here. You see, ladies like to dance because when you dance with a woman, you make her a lady. Now you see, the ladies, when we dance together, we are communicating with each other. I lead, and you follow as a lady. And we communicate to be one thing, you see? Our hearts beat as one. So you communicate physically. In other words, if I hold you like this, you feel me. That's face communication. That is communication. Then our legs, and then our core. And then eye contact. When you dance with a lady, you always look at each other. You always have eye contact. So if I turn you around, you come back straight and look at me. Now, that's very, very important in dancing. And then the last thing, you communicate soul to soul. We must be together, right? So this dance is a rumba, which is a very simple dance, very sensuous, very romantic. It's very simple. So she starts off with the right leg, I start off with my left leg. So we're going to do a little rumba for you. And wherever you go, you dance in Afro jazz or most of slow music, a rumba will do. And I learned this in Cuba and in Brazil. Okay, here we go.
Okay, wish me luck, guys. This is my first time to dance to this kind of music. So that's it now. Don't judge me. Thank you. No pictures, no autographs, guys. Wow. just learned one more thing. Oh, okay. No, this was music in the background. Thank you so much, Doc. That was it all. Thank you.
Diana,
Hello.
what time is going to dock?
And I'm so tired. I didn't realize I was going to dance.
Time is going to Dara.
I want to chichwa chiri murutsoka. Ndatodzidzirawo dance one and singazi.
And the chat about the hair and
It was
Africanism
very informative. You know, it's in me personally. I don't want to be judged, but I think I share the same views and the same beliefs with Doc. Yeah, ever since I had an experience with the late Yuma Segela, and he changed my mindset when it comes to weaves and any, you know, foreign things on my body. In short, ndakatukwa zvekutukwa zviya. And I think from there, zvakandibatsira, it helped me a lot to really reform and be who I am and have confidence in who I am as a person. Ari natural.
that's quite striking coming from an urban groover, right? So we think of urban groovers as these people trying to build a bridge, a cultural bridge between modern day Africa and the West. Can you reconcile that?
It's unfortunate. Many people might say, okay, she's old-fashioned. But I think I prefer it that way because it makes me draw close to the roots. I believe we have to go back to the roots for us to know what's in the future. Isusutiri in the present. We need to know zvinzvaitika kudhara, you know, so that we prepare for the future. So I'm a person who believes in chinyakare chedu. Like,
Really?
yes, I do. I do. It has been such an experience. It's been such a journey. Azvinongotanga zvakadaro. But I guess with spirituality, you go deeper with each and every day. You learn new things, you appreciate new things, and you embrace new energies each and every day.
It's been a journey.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about the journey. I mean, look,
Okay.
I feel like I'm the only person in this country that has missed Diana Samkange going from an urban groover to a Mbira artist.
Yeah, urban grooves era. I remember they Slayer. I was young. Yeah, I was young. I used to perform even in my high heels, you know, weaves, long weaves. I believe I don't think I was going to be in this place today. But yeah, that was me. But with age and like I said, we embrace new energies each and every day. We discover ourselves each and every day. I then discovered myself from a traditional, or maybe, can I say, African traditional religion point of view. So, yeah, I then decided, okay, we had Diana Samkange in the Urban Grooves era. I even rebranded and said, okay, Ndakunzi Mangwenya. Mangwenya being my totem. I'm from the Gushungo clan. Ndiri mwanasikana wekwana Gushungo. Vanonzi vana Mangwenya. So I believe Mwari vakandipa chipo chekumira nedzinza rangu. So this is why ndichifamba nekungokurudzira dzinza rangu kwese kwandoenda vanhu vanofanira kuziva kuti kune vanhu vanonzi ana Mangwenya, and I am that person who is raising that flag. So from Urban Grooves to now, it's been a good 10 years, if I must say, full of surprises, full of people, you know, they believed the journey. People moved with me. Certain people moved with me as I was doing that transition. Unfortunately, maybe a few, because they preferred the Diana, the urban, you know, modern, youngish Diana. But I believe with time, Kanachikura, we grow with our fan base. So Wakawanda Vacho, they followed me through it. And I think we're doing just great with the current image of their new artist.
What was the defining moment? What made you say,
defining
this
moment.
This is me, this is what I'm about?
You know what? It was so creepy, I'm going to tell you. I remember one night I just dreamt of myself playing the mbira. You know, that dream was so intense. You know what? I don't know, but there's something about this dream. I dreamt of a woman, very older version of me, playing the mbira. And when she was playing the mbira, she handed me mbira, exactly this color here. So I woke up and I said, And the first thing that I did the next morning was to go and look for a Mbira teacher. And apparently that teacher, angari munari spiritual. So when I got there, he said to me, "Oh, you are here finally. I was waiting for you because spiritually I was told that you were going to be here. So the time is now." So from there, I've never looked back. I've just been embracing each and every energies. I've just been embracing my experiences, say, spiritually and even culturally or even talent-wise. So jese jango ita come through, jango batana, in one person.
Wow. So on set, you did an interesting song. You told me the name. It slipped my mind.
Vanoera, yes.
Vanoera, which sounded to me like a tribute to
yes.
Chuaniso and Tumbuya Stella.
Oh, yes. When I sang that song, I'm an artist who is now here, but kumashure kwangu kune vakambenge variko. So I always want to give them chiremerera chavo, because for me to be who I am today, pane vanhu vandaitotarisa vachiridza, and I'll be like, wow. I remember Chioniso with Andy Brown, they used to come kwataigara kukwadzana. We were young as 5-6 years. And we used to see them wachiridza mbira because vanga related to the people who were next door neighbors to us. So from there, I was so inspired with this instrument. I said, you know what? One day I'm going to play this.
Tell me, is it a tribute or is it a prayer?
It is mostly like a prayer, enchanting. Kuti, at the end of the day, vanoera, these people, and we're not talking about people, we're talking about spirits. We're saying kuti tiri vanhu vatema, tiri maboy.
So you're now practicing
Chiwanu. I am now practicing Chiwanu, and I'm a very proud ATR advocate and a herbalist too.
Unoraba?
Yes.
Oh, so I can't say unoraba. Munoraba.
Oh, nkundiri murabi.
Ambuya. Interesting. And then you did another song in the middle of Magumeru.
Yes, I did a song called Nata. It's a jazz song which was inspired by Mr. Tanga Yokwasando. Tanga Yokwasando has always been my music teacher or tutor for the past 12 years now. For me, Kutindinge in a live band, for me to practice music professionally, I came from the hands of Mr. Sando.
But that's again about Vanambuya. Feminism,
I cannot say that I'm a feminist as such, but I put women first in everything because I believe that nyika ino opasirese rakabarwa nemunhu wechikadzi. Tese takayamwa zamu rechikadzi. So tofana kuvaremekedza madzimai because they go through a lot kudarika another species.
And is this the new Diana?
It is the new Mangwenya, yes.
And it's a constant in your
It's a such a fierce affair. Diana Samkange is still there. She sings R&B songs, modern songs, but when we come to traditional music, that's Mangwenya. So it's a such a fierce affair. There is alter ego going on.
Wow. Been great having you.
Thank you so much for having me on this show. It's been a pleasure.
Here's to the new Diana.
Thank you so much. Cheers to you.
I don't know if we're going to say new after 10 years. But